real estate. I have an agriculture degree. Nobody ever knows this, but you can actually major in turfgrass management, which I did. So I learned about soybeans, soil nutrition, all that kind of stuff. I was a golf course superintendent for 10 years. I worked at Augusta National Golf Club for 7 out of 10. If you don't know, it's one of the nicest golf courses in the world. After about 10 years of that, I was putting in 80 to 100 hour work weeks. Realized I wanted to start a family. That just really wasn't working for me. So I went back to school and got my MBA and went to go work for Whole Property Group, which was a commercial leasing. We owned shopping centers and malls, enclosed malls in secondary and tertiary markets. We had 14 million square feet of retail space in about a dozen states. It was a lot of fun. It was one of the hardest jobs I've ever had because that was in 15, 16, which was kind of the start of the retail collapse. So we was leasing enclosed mall space in secondary and tertiary markets. But I learned a lot from the owner who had a vision of kind of having the best land in a lot of these locations and really the creativity of repositioning those. So just knowing that, don't just look at what you're buying, look at the surrounding, look at the opportunity. So I had a good time with that. Went back into golf for a little bit and then came to start real estate investing, worked my way up to the city of Walden, and then started my own investing, Sequoia Capital. I've got about 25 doors now, some small multifamily and mostly single family homes. They're all based in Augusta, looking to get into some mid-sized multifamily here soon. Let's see, talked about Albans and jump in. So out-of-state investing, kind of broke it down into 3 topics: team selection, market selection, and property selection. And so I've got a big belief on this. A lot of people, you hear it everywhere, what market should I invest in, what market should I invest in, where should I go? Well, one, before you can get to that point, you need to know your strategy. What are you trying to do? What are your goals? Are you trying to burr? Are you trying to cash flow? Are you investing for appreciation? I'm a cash flow investor. I'm not in Colin Diego right now looking for appreciation in Austin. So it's just really knowing what your goals are, what your strategy is, and once you can kind of determine that, then you start looking for the next steps. A lot of people think the market is next. A good team can overcome a bad market, but a good market cannot overcome a bad team. And I have 100% belief in that. You can invest anywhere in the country and be successful. It doesn't matter if you're in Amy's market. She's done, the prices are outrageous, but she's very successful. She's got a great team. And so we're going to talk a little bit about team selection, who should be on your team, that sort of thing, because once you have that team, once you have the trust, the transparency from being an out-of-state investor, it really kind of lets you accelerate. So who should be on the team? Obviously, definitely want a great real estate agent. Got to have a lender, accountant, or CPA. I guess probably prefer a CPA, right? Anna?
Yeah, I think people think, we were just having this conversation about CPAs, and it's a great designation and you should, but also think that there are people out there with a lot more experience that don't have a CPA, so yes, I know.
Definitely want an attorney. Trade partners, we'll get into a little bit of that later, but we don't have contractors, we have trade partners, and there's a specific reason we use that term. You want to have an insurance agent, you want protection, liability, and then property manager. And so, obviously, we're a property management group. And I think it's really important because a lot of these pieces right here are kind of transactional and it's like one time and then you don't hear from them for a while. But your property manager, that's like, these are the people you date. The property manager is like kind of the person that you marry. And they're kind of looking over the long-term asset protection. All of these people can represent something to you on the front end. The property manager has to deliver that return on investment on the back end. And there's a lot of ways that we can do that.
Quick question. Are you going to go, and this might be, are you going to explain each one?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
So I was going to ask about insurance agent.
Yep. One thing I also want to talk about is the inherent accountability. So part of what we'll talk about is just kind of the team and why I guess everyone's important on the team, but As a full service brokerage, we have an inherent accountability. So a lot of times, if you have a realtor in the market, and especially if you're investing out of state, you have a realtor, and then you go find your own contractor, and then you find a property manager. If they're not working together, if they're not working in tandem, there's no accountability. If something goes wrong, the property manager is going to say, well, the realtor shouldn't have sold you this property. And the realtor is going to go, well, the contractor messed up the renovation. There's no accountability. With a full service team or a team that's working together, they know we have to deliver. Whatever we sell you on the front end, we have to deliver every step of the way and provide the return on investment on the back end. So there's just inherent accountability in the process. So the first one is a realtor. So you obviously want a really good realtor. The first bullet point in all of these guys is going to be build a relationship. You don't want transactional relationships. You really want trustworthy, long-term relationships, and we call them partners. I don't have a realtor. I don't have an insurance broker. They're all partners. They're extended partners of the team, and you want all of these people working and talking together for your benefit. They're all there to work for you. It shouldn't be transactional. Investor friendly, I put that on there because I see it a lot and I hear it a lot. Who has an investor friendly agent? And actually, Bigger Pockets had an article a while back that someone wrote saying, I don't want an investor friendly agent. I just want somebody knowledgeable and experienced to be able to sell me houses. That's their job. And so you just really want a knowledgeable and experienced agent. Sometimes people want agents that also invest. That's great. There could also be some conflict of interest because are they buying the best deals and sending you the junk? You never know. So you just want to make sure that you have a great relationship with them. There's a lot of transparency. I know some of you guys invest with me, and I'm telling you, hey, I'm making an offer on that property. I can't talk to you about it. Or, hey, I can tell you all the numbers, but I don't want to know what your price is because there's just conflict of interest. So we're very open and transparent with that, and any realtor should be. How does the deal flow work? So that's important in an extremely tight market like we're in right now, where inventory is tough to find. How does the deal flow work? So a lot of times we're getting wholesale leads in the morning. Our team is looking at the MLS feeds throughout the day, and so we're blasting emails all throughout the day. How you work with your realtor on transactions and offers. If they send out all the deals in the morning, but you're a night owl, well, you just missed 24 hours of everyone else looking at the deal, and you don't get to your email until the end of the day, and then you're like, oh yeah, Diego, let's put an offer in on that. That property is sold. So you just want to make sure you're in sync with your realtor. When are the deals coming through? How do we work together? What should the communication and contact be? Is it email, text, phone? And let's kind of build that connection. And that's just part of what we do. If you call me during the day, I'm not answering. But if you text me, if you email me, I'm going to get to it. So there's just a priority level. Who are you competing with? That just goes back to your investor. Is your agent an investor, or are there multiple people in the market? You want to be a priority for that realtor. Or any questions, or if anybody wants to chime in, feel free. The lender. The lender is a key part to your success, especially if you're trying to scale and grow. And we're going to talk a lot about how the lender, your CPA, your attorney, and your insurance agent, they should be one cohesive unit because they're trying to help you grow and scale. They're going to have, second bullet point, intimate knowledge of your finances. Once again, when I just closed a deal Wednesday, and the lender that we use, knows everything about my finances, and you have to be totally comfortable with that person knowing, your credit score, why your credit score might have a ding to it, what you make, all those sort of things. And a lot of people, it's like, well, I've got a friend that's a lender. Great. A lot of people are shy to show all that stuff. Are you willing to just open up your bank account to your lender and show them everything? That's just part of the intimate relationship you're going to have with these people, and don't be afraid to. I mean, our lender, we sent them a personal financial statement, never sent bank statements, never sent really anything. Never had to send pay stubs. I literally just sent her a proof of personal financial statement. She had me sign it saying, "Do you, is everything on here true?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely, it's true." I said, "Okay, great, you're approved. Go ahead and buy that multifamily you want to buy." I mean, it's just that level that as you continue to build those relationships, there's a lot of trust both ways, and so it's to your benefit. What products do they have? So when you're investing out of state, if you're investing in state, whatever, is residential loans, commercial loans, personal loans, portfolio loans, cross-collateral loans, lines of credit, credit cards, refinances, fix and flips. There's probably a ton more USDA loans, 203K loans. There's so many different products, and it's really just taking them out to lunch and saying, "This is what I'm trying to do. This is what my financial picture looks like. How can you help me?" And I've got lenders that, whatever I need, you'll go to them. The other piece to this is each lender, whether it's a local lender, a major lender, are going to have specific things that they gravitate towards. So whether it's commercial loans, multifamily, if it's the residential refinances, I know a lot of local banks in Augusta are starting to pull back from that a little bit. But we know who to call to when. And so when I'm trying to refinance, I call this lender. When I want to do a commercial loan, I call this lender. So it's just really key. But open up, guys. Don't be shy. I mean, I'll tell you a funny story. On the most recent loan we just closed, I had a ding from Knology, which is our cable company, and it was $120. And she was like, "You didn't pay your last bill for like a year." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not paying that." She was like, "Well, it's like dinging your credit." And I was like, "Screw those guys. I don't care. Like, I'm not paying that bill." She was like, "Phil, it's $120. Like, just pay the bill and we can get you." And I was like, "No, they screwed me. Like, I don't care." Like, she's like, "It's $120. You're trying to buy multifamily properties." I was like, I'm hearing you. I got it. I'm writing the check right now. Like, texting her a picture of the check. It's like, it's in the mail. We're good.
How hard was it to write that check?
I mean, it's just, it's a package.
You dragged.
But yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where like, I could have totally gotten declined for literally a knowledge bill that I told her. I was like, "They screwed me." She's like, "I don't need to know the story." Like, and I said, I'm not paying it. She said, "Pay it, we'll get you approved." And it was just that level of honesty and transparency. Like, they don't care. They want to give you loans. And I think most people are like, "Oh, well, I can't get approved, this and that." The bank wants to do everything they can to get you approved. Do they fit your strategy? That's what I was saying. A lot of different lenders specialize in different things, or the bank wants different things. So just knowing who to go to when additional lending sources, hard money lenders, private money lenders. You can get Phillip and Diego's contact information after. No, guys. I mean, you have to have a lot of different sources. Hard money lenders. Raphael was talking about flipping earlier. He gets a great rate, that sort of thing. But he's built that over time, that relationship, even with a hard money lender. Once again, they're not out there to get you. They're there to make money, and they're there as a resource to help you make money. Private money lenders, if you can find them, great. Don't be afraid to share on social media, Facebook, when you're out with your friends. Tell them what you're doing, and they go, "Oh, I'd love to invest in real estate," or "I don't have time to do that, but I have money," right? And so they want to be a part of that. There's a guy, he'll lend you money that I know. All he wants to do is just post it on social media. That he just wants to go and take pictures of the property. Like, I'm flipping houses. But dude, you're not doing anything. You keep writing those checks, right? That's totally fine. If that's what the relationship is, take all the photos you want. It's your house.
Investing for the gram.
Yeah, it's your house.
No, that's not what we do.
Make sure there was something else I was going to put about lenders, but small banks and credit unions, obviously, that's they're going to be more willing to help you. Benchmarks, bank benchmarks, and once you get to certain levels in the bank, and I learned this from a good friend of mine who's his uncle was the CEO of a bank. Once you hit $1 million, $2 million, the bankers get reports every single day, automated reports. If you start showing up on those reports, red flag, right? Hey, whoever, Phillip, not me, but just using myself as an example, Phillip has $1 million in loans from this bank, right? We need to check out our exposure and look into his business, make sure everything's successful, right? So once you hit 1 million, 2 million, the bank's going to start slowing down on your lending, and that's why you want to have 4 or 5 different lenders so you don't hit those bank benchmarks.
I did not know. That's good to know.
Yeah.
So what'd you say?
There you go.
He's at the UGA. So at what point then, so are you talking to them like, hey, I bought 2 properties this month, here's my statement with like what my net worth is and all that stuff so that they're ready to go whenever you need?
Yeah, so once again, your lender, your accountant, attorney, and insurance agent, I think are a core piece to your extended partnership. We work with Anna, and one of the things we try to do is we utilize QuickBooks, so our business financials, when we're trying to go for a commercial loan, they're always going to ask for your financials, and so all we have to do is print a P&L from QuickBooks and send it over. So take every Saturday, it's once a month on Saturday morning before my kids wake up, I just go in, pull my bank statement, pull QuickBooks. This is about to be Tiago's job, by the way. So, what Tiago's going to be doing, like, you just reconcile the account, it takes 10 or 15 minutes. I mean, it's no time at all. If you wait till the end of the year, it's like, I spent $13.46 at Lowe's. What was that for? Right? Don't do that. You just remember it, put it away. So that way, every month, we just have a package. We update the financial statements. Here's my personal financial statement. Here's my life insurance policies. Here's the bank accounts if you want them, whatever. It's just a package that we have ready to go every single month. Because once again, if in a tight inventory market, if you can't work quickly, you're going to lose out on deals.
Are you submitting that with your bank statements or just the, like you said, the P&L, right? That's what we call it.
The profit and loss statement.
Are you just sending the profit and loss statement with your bank statements to show like, hey, where they're coming from? Or
If they ask for them, we will, but usually they just want the financials of the company. So we're just sending the P&L and our personal financial statement, which is like your net worth statement. Yeah. If they ask for them, we will send them, but on the last line, they didn't even ask for bank statements. They just trusted that what we wrote on the line is how much money we had.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That was a question.
Your accountant or CPA, I'm not going to do too much on that because Anna talked on that yesterday and she knows way more than I do. But once again, these top 2 bullet points: build a relationship, intimate knowledge of your finances. I mean, those are the people you want to be sharing what's going on with your finances because they're going to help you accelerate your investing career path faster. Keeping you organized, keeping you bankable. Somebody mentioned it earlier, Sebastian, starting from the beginning. I've got stuff that I was doing the whole Excel spreadsheet thing early on, and to get that into QuickBooks now is such a pain in the neck versus when we started the most recent partnership. It was like, hey, we're going to agree to use Anna. We're going to do everything in QuickBooks, and it's just clean from the start. There's no issue, nothing to worry about. Keep you out of the trouble. The IRS is no joke. Play by the rules. When I say play by the rules, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Anna always says it best that the rules are there to benefit you. So playing by the rules is actually a helpful thing, but don't cross the IRS. I've seen bad things happen. I've seen people lose 100 multifamily apartments because they try to screw around with the IRS. I've seen people go to jail. They don't play games. I've seen a lot of things. Don't try to sue the IRS either unless you have a lot of money. It's not a good idea. An attorney. This is one thing that kind of gets overlooked. A lot of people will try to start LLCs themselves. That's great. It's not very hard in most markets. You just contact the Secretary of State. But get yourself an attorney. They're there to protect you. I put some different areas that can help you, but once again, building a relationship. They need to be part of your team. When you get to different LLCs, multiple partnerships, umbrella companies, and you will get there, they'll want to structure things a certain way. They're always looking out for liability to protect you. They have to work with the accountant to make sure that you're saving on taxes and that the cash flow is benefiting you in some way. So they should always be working together. If you're accountant or CPA, attorney, insurance agent, guys, I call them and say, hey, we need a meeting, come to my office, let's go to lunch. Like, I need all of those people in a room at the same time talking so that they can help me. That's what you're paying them to do that. If they don't have time for that, it may not be the right fit for you. But they're there to work as a team to help you. Setting up an LLC, an operating agreement, there was some talk about that last night. Handshakes are great. It doesn't necessarily mean things are going to go wrong. I've seen partnerships where people are just at different stages in their life. I've got 2 kids, right? And so I've got a partner who's younger than I am, no kids. He just wants to keep rolling the money. I'm ready to start taking some money out so that way I can pay for private school. I'm going to have to buy them a car one day. I'm going to have to pay for their college, things like that. So it's not necessarily a bad thing with operating agreements. It's really just people can be at different stages in their life, and the operating agreement protects against anything going south. Closings are going to be there for closings. A lot of times, the more you close with them, you can get a lower closing rate, so it helps on some of your closing costs. We just did one that we knew we were coming to rat race on Thursday. Hey, we got to get this closed on Wednesday, fit us in. We said, sure, great. Squeeze me in, just went and signed the documents, good to go. If you start doing seller financing, wholesaling, if you're a self-manager of property management, you want a good attorney because they're going to be writing up all of these documents for you, the contracts, the seller finance agreements, all of those things, contracts and agreements. Lastly, litigation. If you're an out-of-state investor, you still want a good attorney because everything should go right, but that one time something goes bad, you want to have one of these guys on your side. And it can be, it's little stuff, guys. I've seen residents slip and fall, and then they want to sue the landlord because they slipped and fall because you didn't do something on maintenance. Whatever the case may be, your insurance is there to protect you, the attorney is there to protect you, and a lot of times these letters get written to scare you, and we just have our attorney write letters back. And it's really $50 to write a letter, and a lot of people get scared and end up going to court and losing money because they'll have a good attorney on their team.
Quick question.
Sorry. So with you're investing out of state, right? So we're investing out of state as well, and we did have an attorney help us create an LLC. Do you recommend that we have an attorney from that state that we're investing in, or can it be from the state that we reside in?
Yes, so you guys probably have a local attorney in California and then probably one in Oklahoma because there are going to be some different laws. Mm-hmm. And what a lot of times you're doing is just you're registering them as, I can't remember, they're not alien corporations, but foreign corporations. It's some, I know some foreign corporations in different markets. So, somebody that knows local law, law can change by county even, so having someone local is definitely.
So it's just best to have them local? Okay.
Yeah.
And ask your current attorney, like in California, if they have like someone they already work with in that state too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, because you could still use your California attorney and they just like use someone else as a reference.
Because we're actually backwards. We have an attorney in Oklahoma, our out-of-state investing state, and we don't have one in California, but I've been contacting some attorneys where we do want to get one in California because we also have properties in California. Yeah. So that's why I was asking, like, should we have an attorney for that state that we're investing in? So that's awesome. Thank you.
Quick question, Philip. So would you so for example, when Philip and I buy this property in Augusta, should we create then the LLC in Augusta, like in Atlanta? Georgia, sorry. Like I'm just naming cities.
Do you know where your houses are at?
Right, in Georgia, so that we don't run into any issues, or should we?
Yes, so that's where talking with the CPA is going to be crucial because how you register those, whether it's a foreign entity, how your state works, you may have to pay taxes in Georgia. I guess you don't have to pay Texas, I don't imagine, but in some places you have to pay double taxes. I think is that right?
So you do have to file, so in your situation it's different because Texas doesn't have state taxes, but if you did live in, like, if I lived in Wisconsin and I'm investing with them, I would file taxes in Georgia as well, but if I have to pay any taxes, they deduct it from your Wisconsin taxes. So you don't always double pay because you get credit back from the state that you reside in, but I think in your question, you definitely have, I would create an LLC
In Georgia.
In Georgia.
So we could create an
My
LLC.
attorney and my accountant said I don't have to.
Oh,
For my out of state, they said you can use your same LLC that you have in New York, but you'll just file that separate, the California tax return with
see,
it.
that's
so.
just like, I feel like attorneys are just the best for like.
Right, yeah, so I asked both, I asked my CPA and attorney, and they talked about it.
So for example, for us, we'll create the LLC Georgia, quick deed the property into the LLC just because we didn't have time, but we'll be able to do our taxes and pay Georgia, or because he's in Texas and I'm in Tennessee.
Yeah, you'll still have to file, you'll have to file it for Georgia because you have a property.
You'll
Okay,
file
great.
in your
On the
own
K1,
states
yeah.
too.
On the K1,
Yeah.
okay,
You'll
great.
file in Texas. You'll
So
file
the
in
more
Texas.
properties you have in different states, like you still have to file for that state because every state wants to know. And that's why I say like California, people are always trying to get out of it. It's like, no, you'll still have.
You'll still pay
your
that,
property.
yeah.
And yeah, so.
Cool.
More money, more problems. So much.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But once again,
Good problems.
everyone's
Yeah.
head is different, so building a relationship and being transparent about what your situation is so they can help you.
So we'll need to contact with an attorney
Yep.
over there.
Insurance agent, insurance broker, they're there to protect you guys. This is a key one that everyone's like, well, I'll just pick up the phone and call somebody and I'll get an insurance policy. I've seen it happen. Somebody's going for the cheapest policy, they just want coverage, they need it to close really fast, that sort of thing. And house burns down, tree falls on the roof. I've seen it all. Guys, it's gonna happen. And this is why you have insurance. I've seen a house burn down and somebody had bought a house seller finance, paid it off and never got insurance. And so when a house burned down, they're stuck with demoing burned down structure and trying to sell a lot. It's pretty sad actually. But yeah, I've heard all the horror stories. They're here to protect you. Once again, building a relationship. They're gonna do two things. They're gonna protect the property. Fire, hail, wind, tornado, vandalism, theft, loss of rental income, that's kind of the standard policy. You can do it based on the valuation of the property. So something like a Class A property you're gonna pay cash for, you may just insure it for X amount. Or if you have a nicer Airbnb, short-term rental, something like this, you want the replacement cost. If this thing, hurricane comes through and this gets wiped out, you wanna be able to rebuild the structure. They're also there to protect you. Medical expenses, property damage, legal fees, judgments. That is one of the things I've seen. Everyone's worried about legal fees, but if you have the right insurance policy, you can file the claim and they'll cover some of the legal fees. Liability insurance, claims due to personal injury or personal property. You can do umbrella policies that protect you as well if you don't have an LLC. And it's perfectly fine. A lot of people say you need to invest or you need to have an LLC. There is some liability coverage there, but it's really about the insurance. That's what's really going to save you, because a lot of people, I was actually talking to an attorney friend of mine, and he said if you buy in your name and quit claim it to an LLC, there's a track record that Phillip at some point owned the property and quit claimed it, and so it still links it back to me. So even if I'm in an LLC now, if an attorney went and did all their homework, they could still sue me for my personal assets. So you want to make sure that you're covered under insurance. This is kind of the backstop.
Good to know.
What's that?
Good to know. I didn't know that.
So do they recommend that you just buy your properties in the LLC?
From
It's so
the very
difficult
beginning.
though for people who are starting.
Who are starting out, yeah.
No one's gonna love them in an LLC.
But that's why a lot of people are just ready to buy the property. There's so many steps before you even at the starting point to buy. You gotta build your team, right? The whole team, not just the realtor. You need to have all these pieces to go through the first transaction. How are your properties structured? So this is key just because if they're in different entities. Flexibility in payment options. I'll be honest, guys, my annual tax bill is like $7,000. And right now, I pay it in like July. July, and then property taxes come up in November. So once again, I'm working with my insurance agent to say, hey, this isn't working. We got quarterly payments, monthly payments. I need to break this out, and they're willing to work with me on that. Or we can totally move the timing of the payment so that I pay insurance in the spring and then I pay property taxes in November.
And that's because you own some of the properties outright, right? Because if the bank requires an escrow account and you're paying monthly.
Right. So I don't even, with my policy, I don't even pay into escrow with the bank account.
Oh, cool.
The 5plex we just closed on, the bank said, hey, show us your insurance. We paid a year out, and they're like, okay, good. You just need to keep that updated, so we don't need escrow.
Yeah, and commercial lending, they usually don't require you to escrow at all. Yeah.
Good to know.
I'll go back on the umbrella policy real quick.
Yep.
So it might be a stupid question, but we're house hacking, right? So can we go with our personal residence that we're living in under the same umbrella policy for our rentals?
Not if they're in an LLC. If they're in your personal name, yes.
Yeah.
But if they're in an LLC, you need an umbrella policy for that LLC.
Separate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you have the LLC, you really don't need an umbrella policy, I would say.
So we don't have an LLC for the triplex in California that we have, which we're house hacking. That was like under our personal name, personal account, everything. So that's something that we would want to have an umbrella policy for.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely one umbrella for that. Are they there when you need them the most? An insurance agent, they take you to lunch, they want to dine you, you pay them for the insurance, and you're good to go. But I want the insurance agent that when the house burns down, I pick up the phone, I call them, so sorry, let me help you get through this. Let's figure out how to get your money as fast as we can. Let's figure out the situation. That's the insurance agent I want, not just the person that can work quickly on the front end. I want the person that's, in case something bad ever does happen, before.
Yeah, I mean, like I think a lot of you guys know that one of my rental properties caught flames inside. Didn't burn down, but it did. So I guess out of curiosity, how do you vet an insurance agent to be that guy? Because ours put us under investigation the moment it happened.
Really?
Oh yeah, we went under like what's called special SIU, Special Investigation Unit. They thought we did it.
So referrals, I think
You're shady.
It did. It did. They were like, "Why were you in Florida?" And I was like, "Because I have rental property. Like I don't have to be there."
so on the realtor side, I said, investor friendly agent, that sort of thing, and that's like something you need to be. There can be conflict in any of these other areas. I've got an attorney that invests. I've got an attorney that's actually one of my business partners in an entity. My insurance agent invests, and so a lot of times it's like whatever you have, I want, right? Like if you're an investor, I know you're protecting yourself as much as possible. So a lot of times it's referrals. I mean, property management companies, whoever you're interviewing, it's like, tell me a time when this happened and how did you work it out, or some of those basic questions. But you're trying to vet who's going to be there for you at all times, not who's just trying to sell you an insurance policy on the front end. We had an example where we had a tree fall on a roof, and we called a damage, wind, water, fire damage type contractor out, and they gave us a quote for like $52,000. The property was like an accessory dwelling unit type structure. It was only insured for $50,000, and the insurance company said, "We'll give you 20." And we were like, "Well, this doesn't work. We're going to lose money on this. We can't repair it." So this is when I came to Albany. This was actually one of my first kind of homework assignments. I just called the insurance broker that we all used. I said, "Walk me through this. How does this work?" Because at that point we were dealing with the appraiser, the adjuster, and I just called the agent. He says, "Okay, this is what you're going to do. Send an email and tell them this. Just say it with this specific wording. When they call you, you set up a meeting. Tell them this." And we basically got a total loss on the unit and collected a check for $50,000. Then we went and found another contractor that was willing to do the work for $25,000. So we were able to get the structure built back up, and our investor walked away with a $25,000 bonus, basically. But I mean, once again, you want the insurance agent or insurance broker there to help you. insurance companies themselves are going to try to maybe not pay you.
Oh, dude,
And that's
they're
why
a
you want
business.
somebody on your team.
An insurance company is a business through and through, and they'll try to screw you every which way they can. I think I did a small class for Rat Race. I don't remember if you guys remember, but I told you guys like take pictures of everything in your rental properties because they were real quick to start the process of throwing everything out, you know, and then.
Yeah, but is that the company or the agent?
So so we had, I think it was Allstate or one of the two, but the agent was like, oh, like I called him, I was like, hey, we just had like the house, you know, this happened, yada yada yada, and he was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'll have someone out there in the next 12 hours to make sure the house is start. I was like, oh great, they're gonna start cleaning, like this is awesome. And they came in and they just threw everything out, right? Because it was all smoked and damaged.
Yeah.
And they started throwing everything out, and then everything stopped. And I was like, hey, everyone's gone. Like, we haven't seen anybody for a couple days. Like, what's going on? Like, oh, well, it looks like now you're going to be, you know, we're going to go through an investigation to make sure. I was like, okay, this is regular. And then finally, like, we got through all that process, and they're like, okay, start making an account of the things in your house. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, we need you to handwrite or send us an email of everything that you lost in your house. Like, you threw everything out. I don't know. I can think. And he's like, oh, and we need receipts.
Yeah.
And he goes, if you don't have receipts, we're just going to give you bottom dollar value.
Yeah.
So we had like a 60-inch TV, and they were like, yeah, we're going to give you, you know, the Walmart 60-inch.
Yeah, so like, okay, so you have your agent, but like the agent is a subcontractor of Allstate.
Mhm.
So Allstate actually sends the person out.
Yep.
So like, that's why it's important to have a good agent because they will fight the company for you. Like, they will help you, they will do whatever.
Oh, yeah, no, my
Because like,
agent,
it's the company
Right,
that does the
No,
investigation.
my
not
agent
the
threw us
actual
under the
agent.
bus
Yeah.
and was like
Yeah.
completely out of it. So we definitely went to someone else now. We're in a good
Yeah.
position now. And I'm glad we went through that, though, because that learning curve is great for not just me, but now for like my partners and like the houses that we have. And at the end, we did come out on top as well.
Yeah.
We ended up like 20K plus, but it was definitely not worth it.
Yeah.
And I will never forget, like the agent even told me on the phone, like the last time, he's like, well, you should be happy, man. You at least got 20 grand. And I was like, dude, take your money. I literally don't like what I just had to go through. That's not worth it.
Yeah,
At
all. You like, I've got insurance, and everyone makes a joke. It's like, well, you know, if it burns down, I'll get a check. It's like,
I would.
I would never want to go through that situation. I've
The
been on the
investor that I worked for, he had a fire in his, and when it happened, they like offered him bottom dollar. And there's actually companies you can go to that you can hire to come, and they will fight for you, and they like want a percentage of whatever you get. So like, you don't actually pay them until you win, but they like fight, and they'll put together a report, and he ended up getting a ton more money.
One of the guys that we did ours with our insurance, at the end of it, they sent us like this huge, like, okay, if you buy your TV, we'll give you 80%. Like all these things, just send us a receipt.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of it, the insurance agent that now we did hire, he was like, you know what you can do, which is not illegal, is go buy everything on that list, send them the receipts, and then return it.
Yeah.
And he goes, so that's how we came out on top, because like some of the things we didn't necessarily need anymore. So like couches, we got brand new couches, as expensive as possible. They gave us 80% of it. We got the points on our credit card. We then sent the receipts. They paid it up. We sent back the couches, got the ones we really needed, and made some money off of there. And we stuck it to every single line item because of how harsh they were like on us on the front end. And I was like, yeah, this is the only way that we're actually going to recoup any money.
And how, like, it,
Dates and the receipts.
Yeah, like I would buy the couch. I wouldn't even have them delivered. I would buy the couch, take a picture of the thing, go out to my truck, send the receipt off in an email, go back to the store and say, hey, I don't need it anymore. And they just give my money back.
Well, it didn't matter if the dates on the receipt were after the fact of the damage, though.
No, like
They're
reimbursing me.
Oh.
So like if this couch got burned and it's $1,000 couch, they'll give me $800 of it. So I got to go buy an $800 plus $800 or more or less couch. So I go buy an $800 couch or whatever, and then I send them the receipt, and then I go back and return that couch immediately. Like we did it with ellipticals, we did it with chairs, we did everything.
Was this in your personal house or the rental?
It was a rental. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you provided, like for your rental, you provided it furnished?
It was an Airbnb.
Oh, got you. Yeah, because how would that work for a rental where it's an empty rental where the tenant is the one that's putting in all their stuff? Like, do they take pictures of their things in case?
I would tell them yes.
They have their own
yeah.
insurance.
Yeah.
They have
Oh
their own
yeah.
insurance.
No.
You
You
have
put your insurance, and you tell them to put their own insurance, and tell them like, hey, take pictures of your stuff because if this comes into litigation, I'm not going to be in on it.
Okay.
So
What
this is the best way.
Would be
If
additional
you're-
coverage on that policy also.
if your tenants don't get renters insurance?
Yeah.
That's on them. It's in
They
your
then
So-
they lose everything.
Yeah, that's on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in your lease agreement, like,
Yeah, that's
if you,
what I have.
it probably says, like, we're not responsible for your belongings, we
Yep.
suggest you get rental.
Most-
cars.
As long
most
as we have
landlords now
insurance
require-
as a landlord.
Like, as a
your
landlord, you
prop-
should
your building,
require,
your cabinets, everything
for
is
them to have
covered for you
insurance at a
guys.
certain amount.
And then and usually most policies will have like a small personal property, like if you had
Yeah.
a couch in there or something.
Like
if
that
that
for
would be
10,000.
covered.
Yeah, tell your tenants that they have to have insurance, or you're gonna bill them their insurance. So as a landlord in Tennessee, you can also put insurance on them and take it or add it to their rent if they don't do it. Like say you have 90 days to. Do they do that in Georgia?
What's that?
Where you can say like, hey, you have 90 days to put insurance on your property, or I'm going to, and I'm going to add it to your rent.
So like one of the things we do as a property management company, it's a profit center for us is, hey, do you have renter's insurance? Great. If you do, great. Show us proof it's in your lease. If you don't, we'll sell it to you.
We'll sell it to you. Yep. And that's guaranteed because that also helps cover some of your stuff as well.
That's nice. I don't know
If you have a short-term rental, guys, take it from experience. I tell people all my mistakes because I don't want you to go through this thing. We had a corporate Airbnb that was initially just a long-term rental, and it was for some of our, we've got a couple of team members in Charleston that commute in kind of to our corporate office in Augusta. And so we had this unit, and it was just a rental that was owned by the company, and they were like, oh, let's get into like short-term furnished rental business and like test it out. And we started a sister company, and we didn't get the insurance on all the furniture and the cups and the plates and all that sort of thing. We're just like, oh yeah, let's get going, and you know, the director of operations didn't get it adjusted or whatever. Thankfully, it was a little 1-1, but something happened. The house burned down. And so we got loss of income, but we lost out on probably $7,000 or $8,000 worth of furniture that we should have gotten recouped. I tell a story also. I bought a house cash one time, and I ended up writing out policies and procedures. And one of my line items is don't forget insurance, because I was always at the closing table, and I would have to call my insurance agent and say, hey, I totally forgot again. I just closed the house. Can you give me insurance like today? He's like, oh man, you know, and it was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's like, we'll get it done.
I need it now.
Yeah. And so I bought a house one time, and there was a hurricane coming in off the coast. And so we knew we were going to get a bunch of rain. We were going to get light winds, that sort of thing. And I closed the house, and I was like, hey, Google, I forgot again, man. I'm so sorry. And he's like, dude, I can't help you. They shut down all new insurance policies because of the hurricane. And we were 3 hours inland. I was like, oh, we're in Georgia. He's like, all the way up through Atlanta, we can't issue new policies. So every day I was riding by my house, just like watching the trees. Like,
What are you gonna do, Phillip? Phillip's gonna be like, no.
Just watching, like, really.
He wanted to see the tree fall on his house, if anything. Just, oh, well, I'll just watch it.
Dude, I'm guilty. That happened to me.
Yeah.
I bought a home and I forgot. 3 weeks later passed, and I'm like, crap, a hurricane's coming. I called my dad, did we ever do the insurance? They're like, no.
Yeah.
A tree fell in the detached garage through the garage, and then the tenant couldn't move his car. Like, it was a mess, and we didn't have insurance. And we forgot because we bought it cash too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was.
It's easy to forget.
When you buy,
forget.
then
You're
yeah.
so excited about like I'm getting the property.
Yeah, we forgot it, and then the hurricane, and they tell you we cannot put insurance until 7 more days after the hurricane passes, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
That's why we need the sun, right?
Yeah.
Oh. So
Utilities too is one thing I always forget too.
I always forget. Yeah. So this is what's important about having a good relationship. My buddy Gould said, you've done this 3 times. I'm putting you on a commercial policy. Every house you buy, you're automatically covered for 30 days after you buy it, and you're good to go. And I was like, dude, I didn't even know that was possible. I appreciate it. And what he does now is every month I get a schedule of all the properties, which reminds me, crap, I bought a house, and
Wow, Phillip. Really?
I didn't mean it like that.
Yeah, you did.
It's just a monthly checkup that like, hey, now we're covered for all insurance.
So that's just for commercial insurance, right? Like commercial package, I guess.
It's a commercial package, but it can be on any property. I mean, they're all properties owned in LLCs.
Got it. Okay.
The other part of that is I own properties in different entities, but I have got one main commercial policy, and so all the entities just pay their portion in. So I get a bulk discount on the number of properties by having the one policy, and each entity just pays in whatever their portion is. Trade partners. So we don't use contractors. We have trade partners, and we've noticed just a significant difference in how we work with our trade partners. Building a relationship, we want them to be part of the team. This is like one of the most talked about topics. Where like,
sorry, cut you off.
Yeah.
Can we go back real quick on the insurance? Go ahead.
So you're saying that the commercial insurance policy, that's for the LLCs, it's retained by the LLCs and they all go into it. But what if they're not in the LLCs yet and they're under our personal name? Like, because at first we had to acquire them under our personal name.
right. Yes, I don't know, to be honest. Actually, your license is it's life insurance, so right? It's not commercial
No, I'm licensed in everything,
and everything. Is that?
but I don't know anything. I wrote my own properties. I wrote properties for an investor. That was 2 years ago, and I just collect the renewals on it.
I don't know. I assume so, but that would be a question.
What was your exact question again?
Yeah.
So, I was mentioning the commercial policy, and then all the LLCs just pay into it as a bulk discount. But he's saying LLCs. Not all of our out-of-state properties are under the LLC because we had to get them under our personal name first, and then we'll quit claim them later. So could we do that right now, even though the policies are like under our names right now?
You can ask the.
I can actually answer that because I'm doing that right now.
Oh.
So I quit claim deed into an LLC for my personal name, and actually they just emailed me. First, they had told me last week they would have to rewrite all of the policies and get new quotes with the LLC. But you just emailed me today saying that they can actually rewrite it because it's the same membership owner. So they're just keeping my same exact policy. I don't have to get it requoted, and they're just putting it into the LLC because I'm still the 100% owner.
So in order for us to get like the commercial policy, we do have to have our properties under the LLC.
No, this is just like a landlord tenant policy. It's not like a bot policy where it's a business owner's policy. Mine is just like a landlord policy.
Yeah, so for a landlord policy, you'd be fine. The policy I have has additional benefits like loss of income, loss of rental income, but it also has that 30-day window, like stuff like that, where I don't have to tell them for 30 days or whatever. So that policy I don't know. You'd have to consult with an insurance agent.
Okay. But that's also good to know because then when we do transfer our properties into our LLC, we can just keep our same policy.
Yeah, even if they have to rewrite it, it's not like they have all your information anyways on that property.
Yeah.
To rewrite it, you would just get a different flow.
Right. Okay. So, thank you.
Yep.
Sorry, continue.
Flood insurance also. That's something you want to talk to them about because it's super expensive. And if a property works with flood insurance and you're underwriting great, most of the time they don't. We've got a client that has a package of 42, I think, and his total insurance bills, I want to say like, I'm going to get this wrong, 13,000, but like his flood insurance on 4 is like 7,000. So he's trying to sell those 4 properties because it's like half of the insurance bill. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Also, insurance agents are a lot of times are licensed in multiple states. They have clients that do business in a lot of different states. So, like my insurance agent, if I want to invest in South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Florida, I'm using the same guy. So I trust him. We work well together. He knows the team, so it's easy to get. Trade partners. I show the engineer's triangle. Kind of always refer back to your strategy. Are you doing short-term rentals, Airbnbs? Is it a Class A, B, or C rental? Are you trying to do high-end? We call it renter's grade, which does not mean slumlord. It just means we're okay with some things not being perfect, crisp. We're not renting a house like this. So you can just have a few different things, especially when you're investing in 50, 60, 70-year-old houses. Everything's not going to be perfect. So where do you fall on quality, speed, and cost? cost big too. I mean, that's kind of what we tell everyone. You can't have everything. It's just not possible, especially in a labor market that we're in right now. It's just tough to find. So always refer back to your strategy and where do you want to be with your investing company, with your investing strategy in the engineer's triangle. Contracts and agreements, we recommend them. It can be a little one-page deal that just outlines the scope of work. How we work with trade partners, and if you're investing out of state, I highly recommend all of these things because this is a contractual agreement. You're not there, you're building on a lot of trust, but these are the things that protect you. At the end of the day, you're sending them money, you need proof of what work has been done, how you set out payouts in market, and this is kind of what's crazy. Out of state people, it's like, well, I'm gonna send my contractor $20,000. Nope, we pay every Friday, and you have to submit your invoices on Tuesday. We're gonna check the work Wednesday or Thursday, and if everything's approved, you get paid Friday. And if you didn't complete everything you said you did, we'll give you a draw on that, but that's how we work. And so a lot of times, I think from out of state, like, work the same way. Submit your invoices, show me the photos, I'll have somebody else from my team, my realtor, my insurance agent, somebody, go take a look. If everything is up to standard, I'll wire you some money or cut you a check on Friday. Just have processes and procedures, have systems. You're in control. This is your business. They're working for you. I think a lot of people get afraid of contractors or trade partners at times, and it's like, no, they're working for you. You are the boss. Always kind of take that role. Have respect. They're part of the team. My biggest thing with trade partners, expectations. There's people working on my house, our house right now. I'm not there, but I've worked with them. They know the expectations. Hey, I'm willing to pay you this. I want this quality. This is when we need to get it done. I'm not going to bug you, but I expect everything to be done, and you get a check every Friday, no matter what. A lot of people, that's the biggest thing. A lot of these guys are businesses. They're paycheck to paycheck, and so they can't, wait a month to get that $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 check. That's what really helps us is if we just pay you every week. You're going to get a check every week, make it to the next week, just keep working. But laying out expectations of the engineer's triangle, a lot of times it's like, I would get the phone call from the HVAC guy or the electrician. What HVAC are we putting in? I need to run the wire. And at some point I was like, don't call me. Here's the HVAC guy's number. Just call him. I don't even know what I'm telling you. I'm just telling you what he tells me. And so now those guys work together. They're part of my team. They're great trade partners. And hey, whatever you tell me, HVAC I should put in, whatever you tell me we should do with the electrical, I trust you guys. So long as your pricing's in line, I've learned the pricing models. So long as nobody gives me outrageous price, we're good to go. And in some of these things, I don't recommend this out of state, but I've worked with these guys a long time. And it's like, hey, go paint this house. Send me the bill. I don't even ask for the price. We'll work it out. But you have to build those relationships. It doesn't start out that way. You want to have contracts, agreements, payment schedule, a plan for materials as you're starting out of state. You probably always want that, just for liability and protection if you had a question.
Yeah, quick question. So I keep finding that I keep having to flip contractors because they get comfortable, like you just said. I'll send them a bunch of work, and even subcontractors or regular contractors, I'll send them a bunch of work, and then their invoice just starts getting higher and higher and higher. So how do you avoid that? I mean, I know what we figured out, but I'd love to know what you do.
Yeah, we provide consistent work for you, and so you don't have to do any marketing. You don't have to take photos. You don't have to have a marketing budget. This is the system. This is how it works, and you can make a great living working for us week after week after week. If you land a big job, we're happy for you. Go do it. When you're done, come back. But here's the pricing. This is what it is. Go make the money.
So he defines the pricing. On your case, the contractor defines the price.
No, I define the price. They know, but as we get bigger projects or whatever, they want to readjust price. Now I have to go find another person that matches because I've already either bid or already have my set schedule. For example, if I'm doing a reno in a downstairs, adding 3 bedrooms, I know my cost down to a couple $100. And when electricians or plumbers start trying to get funny, I can see it. Because I'm like, dude, last time we did the exact same sump pump and you charged me $2,300, and now the bill's coming at $2,800. Where's $500? You know?
So that's the different trade. Like, do you have a trade partner or do you have a contractor? Because our trade partners, it's like, if you do that, we're not in a partnership anymore. Like, this isn't working. Like, we wish you the best, but it doesn't work for us.
Yeah.
We're just firm on expectation, and we have a great relationship, our entire project management department. But at the end of the day, like, don't stop using them. And guess what happens? 2-3 weeks, get by 4 weeks, and then they call you. And it's like, I thought you'd be calling. It's like, I just want to reiterate, like, that pricing doesn't work for us. Remember, when you need work, it's here every day of the week, but we have to be here at this pricing. We both make money, we're both happy, good to go.
Yeah, we have the same like structure, like with my plumbers, my electricians. Like I know the expectation, and I know what their work entails, and like I know how much they're usually going to charge. But it does seem to happen, like and I say this for everyone, like eventually, like contractors start getting comfortable. So you got to continue to have that expectation. And for me, I treat and Phillip might, maybe I'm learning too, but I treat every job separate. Like what you did for me at the last job doesn't mean anything for me this job. This is a whole new job, a whole new project, and I expect 100% again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't, there's no like manna from yesterday, right?
And it goes back to that engineer's triangle. I got a guy that I can call right now. It's like, hey, somebody's moving in. We forgot to cut the grass. I need you out here. It'd be pouring down rain. I like figure out how to do it. He's going out there. I got the speed, but I can tell you when his bill comes in, and like, forget about it, right? And it's like, for regular grass cuts, I'm not using that guy. But we know the expectations. We know where our team members are. We know what level they're at. And so if I've got a house like this, call Ozzy, right? But if I got something else, I can't afford Ozzy on that house. Doesn't work. Doesn't make sense.
I can't afford Ozzy either.
So you kind of have to know, and you have to have multiple trade partners, even if you're out of state. I mean, it's going to happen. You have to recycle. One thing I noticed that we find, and a lot of investors make this mistake, you find a good electrician, and then it's like you overload. You start telling everybody about him, and then he had a great thing going. He had a great business, but he can't scale his business to that level. And so now you've ruined him. Now you're pissed off at him because he's not working the way it was. Guys, call me for a good electrician. I'll see. Let me ask around. I'm not giving you my electrician. You know what?
Wait, so you're that guy, Phillip? You're that guy? Wow. Look, we share content. Wow.
Once again, if you go to like a full service brokerage, it's all handled for you.
Yeah.
The money's in a brokerage account. It's a licensed brokerage. It's in an escrow account. If they don't do the work, we fire them. You can always pull your money back out. Like that's the benefits of working with different types of companies out of state is who are you working with? What's the structure like? If you wire a contractor money, and a lot of people are like, well, I mean, do you have a business license? Are you licensed and insured? People will just like Craigslist, find people on Craigslist out of state, and it's like, are you crazy? You just wire somebody from Craigslist $10,000, like, and now you're calling us, right? Like, the pricing is probably not going to be on the lower end of that, and you just have to know that where you are, how you run the numbers, where does it work, will give you the best outcome.
I want to ask a question about the payment schedule.
Yep.
Because you're saying that you always have a check for them on Friday, and then I know Phillip payments, like the way he does it, he breaks it down based on percentages.
Yep.
So when you're talking about your payment schedule, what is that based on Friday? How are you paying them? Are you paying them hourly? Are you paying them?
The draw schedule. So similar to Phillip, we'll break that down. We'll break that down on the initial part of the agreement, especially on a large renovation. But if it's like, if I'm subbing it out, where I'm an electrician, a plumber, a roofer, a painter, like when the roofer's done, he's going to submit his invoice, and I'm going to pay him out that Friday. So if it's a general contractor and they're kind of handling a lot of the project, then we're going to put checkpoints in that. So maybe we're going to pay weekly, but maybe he's getting paid when he completes 20%. So he won't submit a check or an invoice this week, but he'll complete 20% next week and submit the invoice at that point. We're just always paying payroll every week.
So it's not necessarily hey, you're going to get paid $1,500 every week. It's
Right.
whatever percentage.
Whatever you get your check for. Yep. The property manager. So I mentioned a lot of these pieces are kind of short term. The property manager, in my opinion, is the long term relationship. They're the people, getting your property leased up, finding the right residents, making sure that maintenance is taken care of, making sure the residents have a good experience, trying to get renewals, or if there's not a renewal, turning the property quickly so there's low vacancy. This is what we do every single day, so I'm happy to answer any questions. Some things you want to know: what's the fee structure? Guys, 8%, 10%, there's not much difference. What's the value that you're getting at 10%? We provide so much more value with internal analysts, better pricing, all that kind of stuff at 10%, that you'd be happy, you'd be willing to pay us more, versus if you go get 8%, you get what you pay for, even in property management. And a lot of people want to skip on this, and it's like, they're the person looking after your asset. It's not a property, it's an asset. This is a financial resource for you. What are you getting in value? We talked about. How do you fit into their system? So who are you working with? How do you communicate when you have questions? How do you get things done? If you need something, if you're refinancing, you need to appraiser of the property, how do you fit into their system? Are they easy to work with? We have an investor account manager, main point of contact. You get their direct phone number, their email address. They're available whenever you need them. And so you're just not calling the phone tree, push one for this, push two for that. Nope, you're going to call, and I want to hear somebody on the other line. How are they incentivized? So this is big for kind of investor-focused property managers. I do believe in that. How are they incentivized? They should be incentivized. Every time they make you money, they can make some money. That's fine, right? Lease renewals, that sort of thing. But if they're charging fees that just don't make sense, it's not conducive to the partnership. Doesn't make sense. They should, our belief is that we want you to make money. When you make money, we make money. And the more money that you make, the more houses you buy. It comes into the property management company. So it's a win-win. Is there transparency? You're reporting. You just want to see kind of how things are getting billed, how they're charging fees. Talked about investor friendly. Let's see. All right, so I talked a long time, and I want to try to wrap it up quickly on the team, because I think the team is the most important part. Once again, a good team can overcome a bad market, but not vice versa. When you get to the market, if you've got a team, most likely you have a market, or you pick them out, but primary versus secondary and tertiary markets. So I don't have the money to play in Austin or play in Los Angeles. So I'm not really in Atlanta, Charlotte primary markets. I'm in secondary and tertiary markets, and I like those because there's a lot of cash flow, a lot of value add. Economic influence, what are the industry sectors? Is it military? Is it medical? Is it a capital city? Are there universities there? All of those sorts of things. I'm based in Augusta, Georgia. It's a cyber command headquarters for the entire U.S. military. There's 5 hospitals. There's nuclear energy. There's manufacturing. 2 largest golf car manufacturers. There's a Starbucks facility. There's an Amazon facility. Are there car manufacturers? That's a big thing for a lot of value add opportunities. Population growth. I think Austin's major right now. You're seeing all the influx of population, so you can kind of see trends. I'll give you an example on population growth. In Augusta, there's 700 houses. Let's call it 800 houses on the open MLS. Fort Gordon is announcing that they're going to bring 1,500 military families to Augusta. There's no place to live.
Stop telling people these things. We're gonna get flooded in Augusta. It's terrible cash flow. Do not buy in Augusta.
I'm giving it as
Where do we sign up?
Dang it! See what you did, Phillip.
Austin would be the other market. It's
There you go. Go to Austin.
Tesla's coming to Austin.
Yeah.
And it drives the pricing up. It drives the rentals up. There's no inventory, so everybody go invest in Austin.
Everyone go to Diego. Go
But those are, job growth, population growth. You're looking for trends like that. Some tips that I give everyone. I mentioned before, we work with hedge funds. Look where the hedge funds are going. They have billions of dollars of capital, and they have to buy hundreds and hundreds of houses each month, or they lose that capital. Where are they investing? Because that means that there's probably an abundance of homes. The cap rates, the yields are where you want to be from an investment standpoint. And so I just track the hedge funds. When you select a market, get a newspaper subscription. It's like $5, $10 a month. See what's going on in the community. The council leaders, the mayors, that sort of thing, they have an effect on the success of that city. And so you just want to know what's going on. You can also, if there's a lot of crime in a certain area, you're going to learn that as you're underwriting properties, looking on Zillow, Trulia, Realtor. Just kind of match that up with what you're reading in the newspaper. You don't even have to read the whole newspaper, just skim the headlines. Visit the market. Guys, if you're going to put $20,000 down on a $100,000 house, spend $500 and fly into the market for a day. You can meet with your attorney, your lender, your insurance agent, get all those people together, have lunch with them. You know, that's when we have investors fly in, that's what we do. We set up the meetings with everybody, and then we just do a driving tour of the market. And we show you the good areas. We also show you the bad areas. This is where you don't want to invest. You don't want to be looking here. Don't waste your time. So if you're going to spend $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 in the market, spend $500, fly out there for a weekend, know where you're investing.
I need to do that in Augusta. I haven't done that yet.
Yeah. Yeah, we should probably go to Augusta.
Let's go golfing.
The Crane Index. So this is something. There's a city in Georgia that starts with an A. I won't say it for that, but there's a Crane Index that you can look up online, and it indexes cities based on the number of cranes in a certain area. And so at one point in downtown Augusta, there were 7 cranes, and so we were high up on the Crane Index, which lets you know that there's a lot of construction, there's a lot of things going on. So check the Crane Index.
Wow, that's interesting.
All right, so once you've built your team, you've selected a market, then you look at the property, guys, and there's a lot of factors you want to look at. You want to be hyper-local. And so once you've selected the market, it's not good enough just to know Cleveland or Austin or Augusta, whatever. You need to know Midtown, Somerville, South Augusta, Epsiba. You need to know all the different zip codes and really start to learn where you want to invest. All of those go into the criteria. If you want 2 1s, 1 1s, 3 2s, probably don't want 3 1s, you'll take a 3 1.5, 4 2s. I don't like 4 bedrooms because more square footage. I've got kids. I know what kids can do to a house. I don't want to rent a house with 4 bedrooms. I just don't. So you just kind of want to start looking at your strategy, what the square footage is, what the lot size is, property condition, and all of these things are key. Lot size, it's like, oh man, that's a nice big lot. Who's going to cut your grass? Is your resident paying $800 a month and buy a riding lawnmower and cut 2 acres worth of grass? Probably not. So who's going to, that's your property and it's deteriorating if they're not taking care of it. Property condition, make sure you know your cap rates, your cash on cash, your cash flow. What are you looking for in the property? These are going to be the decision makers. You're going to look at a lot of properties, but they need to make sure they fit your criteria or they check enough of the criteria that makes sense. Regional characteristics, different types of properties, architecture, I'm trying to think, anything.